Moving on, viewers, in less than 48 hours from now, in a world that is today strategizing how to tackle Donald Trump's tariff rampage, spotlight would shift to China. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be meeting his Chinese counterpart on the sidelines of the SCO summit, where Russian President Vladimir Putin will also be present. While Moscow and Beijing have been threatened and warned by the United States of America, President Donald Trump, it is New Delhi that is paying the heaviest price for standing up to his bullying tactics. And this is not even a secret anymore, viewers, that this is neither about India or oil or war and Russia. A 50% tariff has been imposed on India only because we continue to keep our national interests first and purchase discounted crude from Russia, much like several other countries, including the EU. But Trump and his team have decided to go after India specifically. From his advisor Peter Navarro calling India an oil money laundromat for Russia, to accusing India of funding Putin's war machine, to Trump himself terming the Indian economy as dead. There is a particular emphasis on targeting Bharat. However, the US president's tactics have not won him many admirers. Even within his own country, several noted economists and companies have warned Trump that his antics will end up hurting the United States and that he should rethink his stand, especially against India. Joining us today is a very special guest, a renowned American economist, Richard Wolff. Many thanks, Professor Wolff, for speaking to Times Now. You've been very critical of Donald Trump's approach, especially his tariffs against India, that includes sanctions for purchasing oil from Russia. You've even said that India is now, according to the United Nations, the largest country on earth in terms of population. The United States telling India what to do is like a mouse hitting his fist to an elephant. But do you believe Donald Trump thinks he is an elephant in economic terms who can dictate terms to India? And is he wrong about that as well?
Yes, I think the short answer to your very good question is that Mr. Trump is the final, or likely nearly final, effort of the United States leadership to confront tragically that the empire of the United States, which replaced that of the British, which you in India know better than anyone else on earth what that was like, that we are now, we the Americans, and I was born and lived all my life here, we are now facing slowly that our empire has peaked and is going down. And it is very, very difficult for the American people to explain this, to accept it, to face it, and they are angry and bitter, and there's a touch of desperation in trying to hold that process back. Look, the reality that we are struggling with is the United States went to war in Vietnam years ago and lost. It went to war in Afghanistan much more recently, and it lost. It is now engaged effectively in a war in Ukraine, which it is losing. It is a sign. It is many signs. And then to watch, and I want to urge you to see it this way, to watch your leader, Mr. Modi, go to China to meet with Xi Jinping and Mr. Putin from Russia is a sign that the BRICS, largely considered, is what it already has become, the new wealth center of the world economy. The whole West does not know how to cope with all of this, and you're watching desperate. They try to convince, if that doesn't work, they will punish you with tariffs. And if that doesn't work, they'll probably sit down with you and finally work out some way to live on this planet. But for the moment, they're trying punishment in the hope that it might slow the process. That's all that's going on here.
Professor Wolff, that's a bold statement, in fact, that you have made here on Times Now. I want to ask you, firstly, why do you think Trump is seeking India's isolation amidst all of this? If you are talking about strengthening BRICS, then why is India being singled out? I am asking you this because Europe and China also purchase fossil fuels from Russia, but he's singling out India in entire Asia. Why?
Because let me push back a little bit with you. He is also interfering in the internal affairs of Brazil. And Brazil is another major member of BRICS. I mean, he did an extraordinary thing. A few weeks ago, he intervened, telling the leadership of Brazil to stop a legal process against the former Bolsonaro leader of Brazil. Even though that's an utterly internal affair, you can't do that. India is not alone. India was a decision made that even though it is big and much more powerful now than it's ever been, it is still less powerful than China and Russia. That's the mentality. I'm not arguing that that's correct. But Russia has demonstrated in Ukraine that the United States badly underestimated their power, and the Chinese showing that they're willing to hold back the rare earths, that they're willing to hold back the batteries, that they have their own power. These are shocks to the American mentality. They don't want yet to face that they are in a position of having to bargain. So they're now hoping to bully, if you like, India, because it's a little bit more vulnerable, they think, and will be more likely, maybe, to bend to the United States.
That's interesting.
And the
you
more
say
Mr. Modi, the more Mr. Modi says no.
Why is Trump so paranoid about BRICS, in your opinion?
Because it's the only way they can handle the decline of the empire. They cannot, even though they know that every empire has declined, every one without exception. The ancient empires of India, China as well. They rose, they peaked, and then they disappeared. They can't face that. Their way of handling the decline is by denying it and instead blaming other countries for abusing the United States, turning the history on its head. The United States is not the hegemonic power, which we all know it has been. It is the victim. Listen to Mr. Trump. Everybody's cheating us. Everybody's hurting us. The blame for the decline is being exported and put on China, India, and Russia. It's a classic failure to admit your own role in a problem you face.
It's important you say that the blame for the decline is being exported, because his trade advisor has called what's happening between Russia and Ukraine as Modi's war. And at the same time, we have a situation wherein India is being targeted for purchasing Russian oil, for keeping India first. Perhaps very conveniently, Trump and his administration has forgotten how America buys a lot from Russia too, fertilizers and many other things. Are they not fueling the war between Russia and Ukraine? Are they not responsible for the deaths in Ukraine?
Absolutely. They are the United States is funding the war in Ukraine. The United States is funding Israel's activity in Gaza. They are providing the weapons for all of these things. The guilt is all there. But sometimes guilty people work even harder to project onto others the blame. Look, if you did to India what they actually say they're doing, you'd have to do it to all the other countries who trade with Russia and who therefore fuel the war. Why is it Modi's war? Pick some leader in Africa or Latin America and talk to them about it. It's the same thing. These are excuses. These are ways to justify the punishing the other for hurting us. This is the story. This is the message. Everything is to be said about it. And remember also, Mr. Navarro, like me, is an American economics professor, and he is one of the most, how shall I say this politely, extreme articulators. Nobody here takes him all that seriously in terms of what he said. He is a spokesperson. He is provocative. He has made his career by attacking China. It's all very easy for him simply to bring India in and make them both partners in the evil that he wants to attribute to them.
And I also want to ask you, since we have been discussing China, why is Trump penalizing India but not China for buying Russian oil? I mean, if you look at China, it is the biggest buyer of Russian oil, but like it's a pause at 30%.
The simple answer to your question is China is now too big, too powerful, too rich. Look, we are impressed here in the United States, above all else these days, with the one successful part of our economy. It's called Silicon Valley. It's all those names that I'm sure you're familiar with: Google, Apple, Alphabet, all of that. China has produced equivalent corporations. Europe hasn't. Most of the rest of the world haven't. The Chinese have done it. The best electric automobiles in the world are produced in China. The best AI program for people's use is produced in China. They are now afraid of China. They've gone beyond punishing, and they realize they've got to come to terms. They still think they can punish everybody else.
If indeed America is afraid of China, as you have described, I want to ask you, how is Trump and his administration going to look at the pictures that will be coming out from China in just a few hours from now? Prime Minister Modi will be meeting President Xi in China, and there's going to be a meeting with Russia's Putin as well. Can you tell us a little bit about the implications, that could really have on what's happening between India and America? What can we expect from America after seeing those pictures?
Here's my guess, and of course I'm just guessing. I have no inside information. Publicly, there will be statements that this is a tragedy, that they will impugn the motives of Mr. Modi and those of Putin and Xi Jinping as well. That will be the public presentation. Privately, there will be meetings in the White House, and they will debate, are we going in the wrong direction? Should we be offering to welcome all of those leaders to Washington to have a discussion about a new world order where we don't attack each other? And that debate is already underway, but you won't see that until it's resolved, until one side really wins, and then you won't have any more debate. You'll either have a new policy or he will double down on what he's doing already. Mr. Trump likes to double down, but I'm not sure in this situation that they will take that step. They are going to be badly frightened by whatever statements come out of Beijing in the next few days.
Do you think the eagle can actually bring or accelerate this coming together of the tiger and the dragon?
Yes, I think that people in the United States, let me speak only for my country where I am, and I'm talking to you from New York City where I live and work. In this country, there's a growing recognition that the United States is becoming isolated in the world. Nobody else supports Israel, just the United States. Nobody else is really helping the Ukrainians win that war, which is why they're losing. The United States couldn't. It is now withdrawing in part. The Europeans, who couldn't do it with the United States, laughably cannot do it without the United States. That means that war is just winding down, and people are frightened here that an empire that no longer is economically dominant, that's over, is now politically isolated, becoming economically isolated as everybody in the world has an incentive to drop dealings with the United States. You can't export to the United States. It's not secure that you can sell there. They'll shut you out with a tariff tomorrow. The insecurity, as any business person knows, is a killer in terms of deciding where you're going to invest. Okay. So the United States is becoming isolated. All it has left is its military predominance, nuclear weapons. And if it uses those, it's over for all of us anyway. So this is a dead end. Time is no longer on the side of the United States. It's actually on the side of everybody else. Okay. And this is a relentless pressure on the United States. Okay. And I think there is developing a consensus to go in different directions.
One last question, Professor Wolff, before I let you go. Democrats have also slammed Trump for sabotaging the India-US relationship. I mean, is it a point of no return, or do you think things can be salvaged from where they are right now?
Well, right now, Mr. Trump literally every day attacks the Democratic Party. He attacks them in every way he can think of. I mean, let me be clear in case folks in India haven't seen it. Mr. Trump is now sending military troops into Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago. Those are four of the most important urban areas in our country. He says it's because they aren't safe. They are. I live in New York. I have no problem walking anywhere at night. I mean, this is silly. But he is using it as an excuse. Every one of those cities is run by Democrats. So this is partly an attempt to dispossess them, to push them aside, and to blame them for whatever he can think of. Yes, we are beyond repair. And that's why there is so much speculation in the United States that one of the things we're going to see in the next 18 months is the effort of Mr. Trump to avoid an election next November because he would lose it.
All right, we'll see what happens there, but interesting days ahead. Thank you very much, Professor Wolff. Appreciate you speaking with us here on Times Now.
My pleasure. Thank you.